Now, some news just came out on whether or not Apple will release a foldable phone in the near future. So apparently Apple is working on multiple folding iPhone prototypes, which sounds pretty cool, but they're struggling against the limitations of the technology. Now, the rumors come from a Twitter leaker, Dylan DKT, who has a history of successfully detailing Apple products before they have launched. Now, this article also says Apple has concerns to whether foldable smartphones will continue to have a place in the marketplace or fall into being obsolete. Therefore, Apple is intent on carefully observing the market and improving upon the mistakes of their competitors. Now, to me, it sounds like Apple hasn't quite figured out the folding technology to the point that Samsung has with the Z Flip and Z Fold phones. And I honestly think the Z Flip 3 is one of the best value phones you can get right now. And I wanted to break down some of the pros and cons to using it, but I'm also curious to know whether you guys think Apple is going to get that foldable iPhone to release this year, if they're even going to do it at all. So feel free to comment below on that, but let's take a look at the Z Flip 3. Now, the Z Flip 3 is everything you can want from a modern day flip phone. It's got a bigger cover display. It's IPX8 water resistant. It's also got a new protective screen film. Now, the phone feels a lot more durable and practical for everyday use, but it isn't perfect, which is why I'm going to be going over some of the pros and cons to using it. Now, as we are in this, if you want to check out our full written review for this phone, I'll have a link in both the description and comments. And of course, if you could tap the like button on this video, I would greatly appreciate it. So I'm going to start things off with the cons because I can only come up with three, right? And the first is that when you fold the phone, it is a little bit thick, which I'm going to show you right here. Now, it's not terrible, but it is something that I think I should point out. You can kind of see that, yeah, I mean, it's a little thick. The next thing is the battery. So for whatever reason, this phone only has a 3300 mAh built-in battery. It can go through an entire day, okay, but I definitely think the battery life on this phone could be better. It's something that I need to point out. And then the last thing is, what about the screen durability? You know, how many times can you fold this phone before the screen goes out? I have no idea. It's kind of still a question that I've been wondering. Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see, right? Okay, now let's talk about some of the pros. The first thing is that the cover display is a lot more useful, and it's just cool, right? You can see I've got like an animal design set up right now. You've also got some widgets you can use on the cover screen as well. And it's something that I've kind of dabbled with a little bit, but it is a cool feature on the phone for sure. Then, you know, we got to talk about the fact that it's got that 6.7-inch dynamic AMOLED 2X display, which is foldable. It's great for watching video and gaming. And then, of course, I got to say, this is Samsung's most affordable foldable phone yet, okay? Which is a big deal, even at $1,000. Now, I wanted to show you an example of the camera on here. Now, Samsung phones always have good cameras. This is no exception. The phone can record in 4K at 60 frames per second. Just showing you an example of my Jason Voorhees coffee mug. I took a picture of it. So yeah, the camera quality is really good. Performance on this phone is really good too. I mean, you got a Snapdragon 888 processor. I wanted to run like a 1-minute clip here so you can kind of see some of the video quality. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and then we're going to get into some of the performance on this phone. Okay, now we're going to get into the performance. I'm going to play a couple of high graphic games, Marvel Contest of Champions, and then F1 Mobile. Now, gaming on this phone is awesome. You know, I'm a big mobile gamer, so I've tested out a lot of different games. This is just like one of my favorite fighting games. It's got so many different Marvel characters in it. I think I've got the Hulk right now. Now, the good news is when you are using this phone, you know, it's got that 6.7-inch display. You can get the full display on just about every game that you want to play, unless it's extremely old and hasn't been updated in a long time. Otherwise, you're basically good to go. But yeah, we're going to start things off here. I've got the Hulk. Looks like we're going to go up against Storm. So we're going to do our thing right here. Man, the Hulk is just so huge in this game. He's like ridiculous. All right, I'm going to get into one more fight, and then I'm going to play some F1 Mobile, which is just a really high graphic racing game. It's just a lot of fun. All right, looks like we got Gambit right here. I think I'm going to go with the Hulk again. I do have Hawkeye, but I'm going to stick with the Hulk. Now, if you have any questions about using this phone, feel free to message me below because, you know, it is $1,000 right now. It's not exactly cheap. Samsung does have some deals, though, where you can get it, you know, fairly cheap on a trade-in if you want to trade in an old phone, you know, so be aware of that for sure. All right, Gambit, we're about to take you out, bro. Okay, now I'm going to load up F1 Mobile, and then when I'm done playing that game, I'm going to give you my final thoughts on this phone, if it's, you know, worth buying or not. Okay, so now that I've gone over some of the pros and cons using the Galaxy Z Flip 3, showed you some of the gaming, video, the camera, how the phone folds, I gotta say this really is one of the coolest phones to come out this year. I wouldn't hesitate on it. I think that anybody out there who's, you know, maybe thinking, should I or shouldn't I? I'm telling you right now, you definitely should. All right, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this. Tap that like button if you haven't, subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you in the next one.